think the honorable thing for our species to do is deny our programming. Stop reproducing. Walk hand in hand into extinction. One last midnight, brothers and sisters opting out of a raw deal.
Do not trust any friends or family members. I repeat, do not trust friends.
Chris, thanks for the warning about the penile fractures around the holidays.
That was you. PSA. Yeah. That was the Guardian, to be fair. I mean, I was just spreading the word.
It's the gospel.
I like they attribute it in the article to reverse cowgirl.
That's enthusiastic reverse cowgirl.
Wow. Everybody's inebriated, not paying attention, and the penile fractures bound.
It's like a legitimate study.
What age bracket are you doing enthusiastic reverse cowgirl? I've not dabbled that often.
No, it's not.
That's gotta be like early to mid 20s.
Yeah.
Just getting sauced for Christmas.
Yeah.
It still hasn't lost its appeal yet.
You know what? You know how much trust you're putting in the girl? Too much.
Oh yeah, exactly. Way too much.
Fractured trust.
They describe what the injury sounds like, and penis responds afterwards, and they're like, people come in and their dicks look like eggplants.
Oh Christ!
Apparently, there's like a crack, and it's just like
How do you fix it? Like, do you just bandage it up? Well, this one's gonna be a while. Like, or does it need like an intervention?
Oh, like a splint or something?
Do you need surgery?
There's a splint.
I don't want to say that you always need surgery, but there's probably some bad cases of.
You know what? If anyone out there has ever had a penile fracture, we're not laughing at you.
No,
this is laughter of horror.
It's true. It's just like it's just a reaction, like a bodily reaction, just like because I don't know what to do, like laughing at a funeral.
Yeah. It's very much like that. Yeah. So watch out.
You're gonna say, speaking of laughing at a funeral.
Actually, yeah, that would be a fantastic transition, wouldn't it? Speaking of laughing at a funeral, we're gonna do some Peter Milligan. We're gonna go back to the Peter Milligan X-Cellent ecstatics route. And because Milligan came back, I guess, I don't know, definitely this year, but did it start in 2022?
Originally got a one shot in 2019, and then the one shot sort of never amounted to anything, I believe, because of COVID, and then the initial 5-book run hit 2022, and then completed in 2023 with another 5-book run of the ecstatic sequel, The X-Cellent.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, we're going back because big ecstatics fans. I think on the Extinction Agenda is that you've read the original run, Chris, have you?
Oh, definitely. I love the ecstatics. I got the deluxe hardcover.
Whoa,
yeah. Now we're talking.
Funny story. I don't have any copy of it whatsoever. I got the obviously I have the X-Cellent, but I never bought the books. And having read these and looked back at the marvels of the original run, I'm like, what the fuck's the matter with me? Why don't I have this?
You know, it's weird. I actually don't have any of mine. I don't know how. I lost them in a fire. In the fire,
Okay.
my dad's. Oh God! In my dad's basement. And it wasn't a bad fire. Just the insurance company pilfered all my shit. But I actually have only the X-Force book where they first dropped Milligan and Allred on everybody and pissed off all the X-Force fans. That's the only one I have. So I bought a bunch of stray old back issues, just like patchwork stuff, just for fun, just to have a few in the background, and then I did this run.
Awesome. Yeah, so we've got we got to make up for that. Maybe if you're good, you'll get a present for your birthday.
But you can't find this stuff. This is some low print shit.
It's been re-released in volumes, like the ecstatic stuff. Yeah. I want that deluxe edition though. I love this art. So we haven't talked about the book at all, but looking at the old X-Force stuff, looking at Mike Allred's art at that time, like it was always good, but it like in comparison to what he's producing now, it seems so rough.
You find it much better now.
I find it different. I think I prefer the older, rougher art. I think, but I'm not going to turn my nose up at mature Mike Allred working with his wife Laura Allred. Like everything's on
she's
point.
Amazing. Yeah.
Like all like this is great. I can't poo-poo it. It does seem to lack some of, and it might just be, I don't know. It just seems a little less raw, which is a very weird thing to say about this book. I'm flipping through it. I'm like, what could be more raw than this, James? What are you talking about? Still, though, that's kind of the sense that I come up with.
You felt like this second run was a bit muted compared to the first X-Force Ecstatics run, right?
I think so. I think the energy was hot, early on, and it's interesting to engage in this because this is a nostalgia run on the Ecstatics. Let's get the band together. Remember your old TV show, folks? It's back. And I think a project like that is necessarily going to be muted because there wasn't, I don't think, any reason to do this book. Really, none whatsoever. And it just feels like it's sort of rehashing old stories for the sake of doing so.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, it's also really elegant.
Yeah.
For a rehash sequel.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think like the times have changed, and Milligan wants to. The purpose of this, it's not just a nostalgia run. It's like Milligan, in late period, recent Milligan, has been very interested in social media. Another book that he did around this time published by AWA called Absolution is basically, it's kind of like a Running Man thing, but your ability to survive the contest requires you to gain popularity with the audience through social media.
Oh, it's Hunger Games, basically.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so he does a Hunger Games, right? I've never.
Yeah.
Okay. But she's like but there's a lot of other stuff going on. We don't need to get into it. We're not talking about that book, but it's just it's a thing that Milligan picks at and goes over, and he seemed to want to come back to it at this time, probably for very good reason. Things because what the last, like 2005, when would Ecstatics have ended?
Yeah, I would think around then. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty close to then. And I think what you like you say too, it's you know what I mean, like he was firing shots at reality TV and social media at that point in time, like basically just Facebook, and now he's able to sort of like take the same characters and the tropes, only just like sort of ride them harder into the current social media atmosphere.
Yeah,
which is weird to think how much it's slid in 15 years. It's like, I don't know, it doesn't feel like it, but the temperature has changed, and I think this book captures it pretty well.
Yeah, so I think it's a successful project, but it's not, it just doesn't have the immediacy of the original project.
True.
With a literally younger rock.
Yeah, plus, no, I was just gonna say, I think the original one too had the, like, I mean, imagine the fire of receiving hate mail from X-Force fans. Oh, that would shoot me out of a fucking cannon,
Not to mention too the controversy that he was writing in on, even like wanting to use Princess Diana as dead girl.
Yeah. Which is like, I was watching. I saw some of the art of like that originally showed Princess Diana in the book, like on a cover, and she's doing the splits, jumping over some dude's head. And
that's fucking funny. Like,
beautiful.
What kind of cowardly editor didn't let that fly?
Well, they got the royalty themselves complained, and all
cease and desist.
Yeah. And also, like, the original, I didn't know this. X-Force, 116 or whatever it was, I understand it to be the first instance in which Marvel removed the Comics Code stamp on a permanent basis. They were like, look, we don't, Comics Code, you don't like this book? Fine, go fuck yourself. And like it set off a chain reaction where like everybody just started getting rid of the Comics Code. And
seriously?
yeah, like everybody was ignoring it and not caring about it as much anymore. But the Comics Code, for whatever reason, thought that they would try to flex whatever stupid muscles they thought they had. And Marvel was like, go fuck yourself. And then DC was like, well, if they're not doing it, we're not doing it. Because the whole, it's just there was no reason for it anymore. Anyway, so and
then hilariously we've backslid into a time of additional censorship.
Yeah.
Just organically, ever nice.
Yeah. Well, we go up and down. That's the thing that we do, but
ebbs and flows.
So what do we? Okay, so obviously, I guess my card's on the table about what I think of this. But what do you guys think of it?
I love it. Yeah, I think it's brilliant. I don't know. I had a really good time. I like just like cheaply like how Edie's dead and they just like drop her daughter in on you.
Yeah, couple of nepo babies.
Just a shameless display, and the same thing with Fat. They just like they just replaced him with like a female version.
Yeah.
That's like that has like where all of his you know what I mean, like and you could say it's like it's a softer book, but this is obnoxious. It's satirical. She's identifying as a strong feminist who's happy with her weight, and the jokes are I don't know if they're sarcastic or obnoxious or deliberate or empowering, or you can ride any which way you want. But the characters really fall into play. Mr. Sensitive's Guy Smith's just excellent for this type of stuff, for this conversation.
Yeah.
There's that little bit like later on in the books where they bring in that social media expert.
Yeah.
Who identifies as they, and he's like, I'm sensitive to these things.
That's right. So good.
Stupid. Just all around nice work. I don't know, and I don't know, like, what'd you guys take on how'd you guys feel about the bad guy?
I love Zeitgeist.
The fucking ramped up Zeitgeist.
Phenomenal.
Just what? Because we never got to know him really. Like he existed for most of issue 116, and then he's gone. And so at least like he's kind of a blank slate, not completely, but yeah, he's just such a fucking built like a so mean. The way he treats Mirror Girl, and the way like the weird, like she just falls back into bed with him all the time. She's like, I can't betray him. I'll just
the way she comes up with like fucking like underhanded side hustles with other like minor bromances to kill him basically, or railroad him, and then just like gives in and is like, oh, I love him.
Every fucking time.
And screws somebody over and gets them murdered because Zeitgeist is a fucking relentless murderer.
And he just like, and he treats her like such shit too, and he knows that she's just pathetic. And seeing those interactions, it's they're like, it's funny in the way that we're just laughing, but it's like also like it's so petty.
It's deeply disturbing also, and it's honestly like the reason it's funny is because typically abusive scenarios are not unlike that, and it's so fucking stupid to see someone behaving that stupidly. That it when showcased in this exaggerated way is just kind of funny.
Yeah, there's something kind of fun about the way she conducts herself too, like she's like a walking soap opera almost. And then like her like little jabs that like like it's just a bunch of false promises, just like Zekeite's heart. And like she'll just like have these moments of, I don't know, self-consciousness, but she just can't. I love that his powers make no sense together. Like he's got like mesmerism, he's got like explosive
his mesmerizing powers, did they develop that right away, or is that like sort of it progresses?
You mean like way back when, or
no, like I mean early in the first run, like the first 5 books.
I don't think. Yeah, I think it's like Magneto back in the day, where Magneto would have all sorts of like mind powers through the power of magnets. He's just, it's like, it's whatever. And he also vomits acid.
Yeah. I don't know, did you guys find? I found like increasingly that his vomit power was hilarious.
Oh yes. Yeah. It was hilarious right from the get.
Yeah.
And James, you posted that image of the original X-Force first page or whatever, when he's like looking his beautiful girlfriend in the face, and he's got those teenage hormones raging, and he just like fucking barfs the shit in her face and melts her face, but it's all off panel. It's like, I hope the doctors could repair her face. I can't remember her name. It's just a fucking nightmare.
And it's it's obviously
like
very
every time
sexual.
It doesn't get old.
No.
Oh no, because it's just like, it's so shocking to have a guy just like vomit grotesque acid and melt you into like a fucking dilapidated acid burnt corpse.
And then just how casually, like, it just like, everyone's gonna die eventually if they're near him, but like just the quickness that he disposes, it just like flips on people. Hilarious.
And that's true to the originil series too, is that like that's the fun part of having your own sandbox, like what Milligan and Allred did here with the ecstatics and the X-Cellent, is just that like these are all his homemade fucking weirdo mutants that he's just introduced to us for shits and giggles. So he just like the stakes are high, like people are gonna fucking die all the time. Like, you can't do that in the X-Men. Well, you can, apparently, and just resurrect them Krakoa style and waste everybody's fucking time. Thanks, Tom King.
Did you blame Tom King for that?
Oh, yeah, sorry, wrong guy.
That's all right.
Hickman.
Yeah.
They're akin in their mediocrity. Oh, that's enough.
All right. Shots fired. I guess that... Well, I was gonna one more thing about Mirror Girl. Her power to create a mirror that shows you like who you really are, or like what like, I'm not quite sure, because like every time Fat is her name Fat or Fat Girl or something like that.
Fatty, I think.
Fatty, right? Of course. She looks in the mirror and she sees she's very thin. She sees her. She's actually, but whereas it's not really showing you some sort of true self. It's showing you some sort of anxiety that you have about yourself, and pretending that it's like she says it's your true self, but like it's just like the ugly shit, or your worries. And the irony in that is like, I guess sometimes her mere self yells at her, and calls her pathetic, I think, but.
Yeah, but that's not her true self either, really. Like,
yeah, that power is bizarre. And I like that. I like when she shows Zeitgeist himself.
Yes,
and it's this fucking horrific, twisted villain, and he's like all pleased, like he gets off on it.
Well, that's true. But then at the very start, she's convinced that you're a good person. See, look at yourself, and then she shows it to him. He's like, yeah, great.
Yeah. He's the fucking. Did you guys notice that he like his body like adapted and changed as the series went on?
Well, because he gets hit in the eye or whatever, so his eye gets all red.
No, not just that. Like the costume from because there was a one shot that before the first 5 issues, right?
Right.
Okay, right.
And then after that, the costume then
Oh,
changed.
I'm looking at, you're right. I see that. Okay.
Yeah, and the costume started like sort of morphing, and then the face mask piece came off, and his torso started to like tighten up, and then later on his legs and his body seemed to like form differently, and anyway, it was just like
and he goes back to the original costume, like the original costume.
Yeah.
Or something equivalent to it. No, he does.
When he becomes God.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, maybe it's not the original. Yeah, because he gets so many followers on social media. I like how that's like the whole point of this. Like they pilfer from Doctor Strange. Like Doctor Strange's inclusion in all of this is very weird.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, because it's like almost like a parody of a cameo.
Yeah, so he takes a picture of some pictures from the book of pages from the book of Vish.
And then does he have his eyeball like create the book, or somebody
or Pood?
Pood.
Pood.
He's a fucking monster.
Some of the shit that he does is so lazy and hilarious. It's just, I don't know. You really have to have a really, I don't know. I feel like you have to have a sense of humor if you want to tip into this, and it's very like it has a weird pace. It's a funny story. It's not really about superheroes. It's not. But then they have like cheap inclusions, like of all the X-Men teleporters.
Yeah. Just to show how pathetic these characters all are. Or I like when Zeitgeist like gets turned down so much, like turned down by Blink, and he's like, sadly she wasn't appropriate for any of this, like he's refuses to.
Oh yeah, because she says he's a creep.
Yeah.
I like Gambit's off-panel cameo. They're like, when they go to that party, there's a bunch of B-listers. Oh no, we've hit a new low. There's Gambit.
Everyone in the background is fucking like, yep, that's a B-lister. Yeah, that guy sucks. I wish I could find that. I know exactly what page you're talking about, obviously.
I like how every time anybody bumps into Guy Smith, he just starts crying or just falls over. They like grab his hand, or just like, I think in one scene in the one shot that he just pokes him.
Yeah, I think one of the best things about like the Static X-Cellent is like you're always expecting Guy Smith to do something awesome, but he never does. But somehow you believe that he's the leader and like super confident.
I have total faith in him, even though he's completely inept.
I'm looking at the B-listers here. We got Speedball, we got Wonder Man, your favorite, James.
Oh yeah.
I can't find any of the other ones. Oh wait, yeah, Dazzler. I think the Human Torch is there. I don't think that's fair.
That's totally fair.
And Patsy Walker, Hellcat. Yeah, there's so much to like about this. I like talking about this book more than I like. I feel this is one of those conversations that is making me like, oh yeah, you know what? I actually had a really great time.
What James said about the pace is very true. Like, and I found for the first couple issues, I was like, is it going to recapture any kind of magic? Like, the pieces are there, but where's it going? But increasingly, I like where it was going. I think one thing I wanted to mention about Zeitgeist too is that, I mean, this is directly stated. He says that he is the spirit of the age, so it is directly like that. His essential narcissism. It may not even be his fault. It's just sort of like he's responding to whatever is around him, like the sort of like thrust of politics of society.
Right. Yeah, I wondered about. I mean, I guess he was always like that. If that's the case, then.
Yeah, but like this is more. I mean, clearly he's kind of a Trump analog. So, it's more malicious in this one. There's more of like a vanity to Zeitgeist in the original series.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if like it's a. I don't think it has to be like a racist grandpa thing. It could just very well be like I guess maybe I just think of him as the spirit of the times, like in the sense of social media, of like the media landscape, and yeah, racist grandpa is tied up in all of that, but I think it's meant to be more diffuse than that. Because I'm like, oh no, go ahead, please.
Okay, so no, just look at the way that he uses and understands and manipulates social media by just like constantly lowering the bar. Like everything he does is like it's iconoclastic. It's like doing, like trashing a library earns them followers.
They have that scene too where he just like shamelessly like he does like an AI demonization of the ecstatics team or whatever. They're like, people are gonna find out this is fake, and he's like, who cares?
Yeah, that's why I went to, like, he's more about social. You're right, the bar is being lowered, but like the bar's being lowered everywhere, and there are, like, racist grandpa is definitely a part of that process for sure. But all those tactics, all that behavior, it existed, simply through social media. It's like part of it. And yeah, that's the thing I wanted to actually, like, explicitly point to is, like, at the end, he goes straight to conspiracy theories. He's like nobody cares about the truth. And that's obviously resonant with racist grandpa as well. The idea that, like, just say it, and if people feel good about it, they'll hit like, and they'll follow you. And in that way, yeah, Zeitgeist, like, he is the spirit of the times. He'll, which brings me to my favorite character, like my new. Oh no, Docs.
Oh, I thought you were going for the fluff.
Oh no, the fluff doesn't factor into, like, the social media thing. I do want to talk about the fluff. But, I was so enamored with the concept of Docs, and his character, such as it is in this. He perishes pretty quickly. I liked that it was such an explicit. He's docs, right? He'll dox you. That's what he does. Like that.
Wait, where did Docs die?
Geez, it was in the last half. What's his nose?
Yeah.
It was another one of those, like, your girl, like, conspiring against Zeitgeist and then turning at the last second.
Yeah, like, he was the AI robot, right, or whatever.
Yeah. So I was really, I really liked that. I can't put my finger exactly on what I liked about him. I liked that he was like, he was a slave to Zeitgeist for, like, complex reasons. Like, there's an intelligence. This is AI. It's what it is. It will be not a slave to social media, but it'll just be, like, ensnared in it, and made to do its bidding.
I really like that he fucking vomited the Zuckerberg analog.
That's right.
Or Elon Musk. I guess you could interchange them. They're both pieces of shit.
Docs' creator, though.
Yeah.
Give me 30 seconds to justify your life. Well, nobody can understand him like me. 15 seconds. And he just barfs all over him. So good.
And then he has the fucking post-traumatic stress from him barfing his father.
That's right.
So stupid. So Fluff, you were going to talk about Fluff, Chris. That was when he established like a new shitty scene. When he got that chick that's got the power over everything Stripe, and then he had his new teleporter that almost killed them every time they teleported. They pulled out of prison, and then the Fluff entered the fray.
Yeah, and he's just got, like, V-neck down to almost his belly button. Actually, his belly button's revealed, because that way he can access the Fluff. I don't. It's no better than Tyke Sinclair's, like, acid sweat thing, or the barfing acid or whatever. It's just like, it's just so.
No, it's like the Morlocks are like brought forward into this weird like social media battle where they're trying to gain relevancy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he's like handsome, but like sort of like this dated 70s style, but like everybody's kind of making fun of him.
And like he's literally fluff. Like that's what people say about like shitty media. You know, he's just shitty. He's the embodiment of shitty media. And so what's his power? You know, belly button lint. People. Yeah.
But I love that they do the explaining the power trope thing of like just, you know, like that like stupid complex things like explaining how their powers work. And he like uses his belly button to like make fast setting glue to like
gross it's like all the things that would be in your belly button he could just like produce en masse.
Yeah. And like as a protective shield against vomit.
Against acid vomit.
Yeah.
It's just the worst team. That's when they recruit Girl Joe and start spinning the social media back in their favor.
Oh, the ecstatics. Yeah.
Yeah.
They get an influencer consultant who's not non-identifying I don't know, like non-binary. What?
Non-binary.
Not sure what that. Yeah.
And they also add what's her name? The German girl that builds walls or
wall. Whatever. Oh. Yeah, whatever her name is.
Yeah.
She's like, when it's time for her secrets to be revealed, she's like, no, don't. I don't want people to know about my time with the Stasi. Jesus Christ.
And they have Miles in that fucking like in that like penis larva like healing the whole time.
Miles gets the grimiest end too.
Shocking. Miles
just completely dissolved and like his like limbs have melted off.
Well, that's just sad.
Yeah, he was already dead. Fucking the god Zeitgeist made him that way though.
I wondered what so Venus de Milo character, who is just like really an absent presence in this story up until the end. Like basically she shows up and gets rid of, Deus Ex Machina, gets rid of God. It's a God that came out of the machine to get rid of God. And I just thought it was like, and I would really like to read the original comics and see how Milligan positioned the character of Venus de Milo. But I think about the original painting, the Venus de Milo, that image of mediated image of beauty that's at the center of, like, I don't know, modern art. And what, what is the, I don't know. I'm just not sure what, like, she's just like developing in the background. Like, let's assume for the moment that she is meant to be figured as like regular media or like beauty or actual art, slowly being reconstructed, and then shows up at the end in order to get rid of all the artificiality and toxicity and shittiness of Zeitgeist, and all of its followers, and just I don't know. What does she even send him into? It's like
it's like an abyss with the spirits of everyone he's killed. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess that's it. Yeah, and just like all of a sudden that's it. And I don't know, like
I found that to be like a kind of a hilarious end. I think the moments that they had planned were all, you felt a little gypped.
Yeah, I think so there too.
Yeah. Well, because it's probably the case that sales just didn't warrant another miniseries, and they were just told I feel like they were told, like, look, you're done, and so they'll wrap it up. So they just wrapped it up. But I could be wrong. Like this book is so aware of both cynical and also hopeful, but also like willing to just like do anything it wants. And so I'm like, yeah, maybe it would just be funny to just get rid of him in the last 2 pages. Because I found myself rereading issue 5, and I was like, shit, this doesn't feel like it's coming to an end. Am I missing an issue? Like, did I was I supposed to get 6? And then no, it just gets wrapped up in 3 pages. Venus de Milo shows up. He gets banished to like some sort of old dimension that is basically a version of his own mouth, and that's it. End. So yeah, kind of a bummer, but also appropriate for the thing.
What do you think about Toodle Pip or whatever?
I love Toodle Pip. I really like. She's a columnist, essentially, like sort of a Gossip Girl kind of character.
Weeks.
Yeah. I like that. I like that. I also find myself thinking about the position of teleporters in this series, like the importance of having a teleporter on your team.
Yeah, it's like a status symbol.
Yeah, it's like, because they don't have a teleporter, so they like, we spent all that money on that Uber. We lost a bunch of followers.
So it's fucking stupid. And I like Toodle Pip too because I like the 1-page origin.
Oh God,
is that,
yeah.
Is that with the parents?
Yeah, with her dad shooting himself or whatever and activating her powers. And
yeah,
it's just I don't know, man. Like Milligan and Allred just like they can deliver this stuff. It's so unique. Can you imagine going to the comic book store and filling up a file with like current DC comics and just being like, oh man, the X-Cellent's not for me. Not cool.
Yeah,
I don't understand that.
Yeah, well, because this is top of the line. Like, it's an excellent collaboration. Peter Milligan needs. We've talked about this in the past, but he's one of those fellas that like gels with someone and can produce excellent work when they're able to gel with someone, and then they also produce a bunch of jobber work. Like I think they probably have the worst X-Men run of all X-Men run.
Who, Milligan and Allred?
Milligan, because he wrote X-Men for a good while, and it sucks. It's unreadable, and the art's like fine, but it's like he's just not on fire with someone. Like he's a real comics creator. He needs to be part of not just he can be on the industrial line, but if you put him in a good band, he's 10 times better. And I don't know why. But that's just the case.
Well, it also feels like he has. I think I was listening to your War Journal, and I think that was one of the guys that Chuck Dixon signaled out as like part of the British invasion who really didn't like superheroes.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So like when you put him on a project, like when they put him on Batman, like he just didn't seem to have any real interest in writing Batman himself. And so, Chuck thought poorly of that. But it does seem to me to be true that like Milligan is interested in working around the edges of superheroes and like making fun of it or just kind of like deconstructing it. So yeah, to do a straight X-Men run for him, I don't know. I don't know what that would look like.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, it's not good.
Yeah,
it's really not good.
Check that out, actually.
Yeah. If you guys ever want to cover like Milligan,
absolutely.
Let's do it. What do you think about the eyeball guy giving birth to another eye?
That was so grotesque. And the whole issue, like, and I think there's a kind of a pattern towards the end where like each of the X-Cellent kind of got a point of view for the issue. Like you got to know them a little bit. But this whole thing was like I'm enraged constantly because I am just an eyeball. Like I like to spy on people and watch them like be intimate, and it just I can't experience any of this, so I'm just gonna like blast whatever I can. And then the idea that like he can just generate like asexually like morph. Oh god, so creepy.
I think I liked this. You pointed out something that I had forgotten, Chris. That I think I liked the last half of these comics more than the first half, for the reason that you just stated. That it's like you get these issue by issue explorations of the various X-Cellent characters, and they provide frames to the story. Like sometimes like that issue 1 of season 2. That is about the eyeball dude. That one was good. Uh, well structured all throughout.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And then it kind of lends some weight. Like, I think there's that great moment after Zekeist ascends, and he's like, maybe my team is a little bit B-list for my current set. You've kind of gone through it all with them and seen their origins, and like Hurt John, like he's like this telepath who just like shows people and gets off on exposing people's pain, and like really self-loathing about it.
Especially when Zeitgeist is like in his room doing whatever like fucking exercises where he's just like in agony, like it's almost like a masturbatory thing, and he like waits outside of his door and like listens to him in pain, like
yeah.
I don't know, that's fucking so weird and uncomfortable.
Yeah, he's like,
and he likes to like barge in on him and interrupt him.
Because I think he'd like bring some sort of like relief, or something. But he does, yeah. There's a ritual to it. Him and Mirror Girl are so infatuated with Zeitgeist.
Well, they're in the fucking. They've got the, they're under the spell,
Yeah. Yeah, because Toodle Pip was immune.
The mesmerizing powers or whatever.
Can't remember why she was. And then Docs had to listen to his authority. But yeah, and Fluff's powers protected him. He couldn't be charmed.
Yeah. And then he just gets executed as a consequence.
Yeah, that's a gruesome one. Just like, teleported above the earth and just like let fall to his death.
Yeah. So no, actually, go ahead. Because I got a different.
I liked how Fluff like would stick up for, like, just in the grossest way, like, I'm trying to defend this babe.
Well, even Girl Joe is just loves Fluff, everybody like bends over backwards to accept his like shittiness, just because like he's Fluff, he's charming, right? It's allegorical.
It's like, yeah, and he's like, hey, you can explain your pronouns to me later, babe.
And she's just like, oh, there's something to that guy, and very human.
Yeah. It's true. It's like there's two streams to like manipulating current social media. There's just like to be completely superficial and like just let people read into it, or just like unleash the darkest urges of people so that they can get behind it and just kind of live vicariously.
Well, that's a good that dovetails what I wanted to say about Mirror Girl and Hurt John's infatuation with Zeitgeist. This notion of like doom scrolling, like social media being this thing that is depressing and like causes sort of psychic plagues. You got Mirror Girl who's all repressed, but also like can't resist. She's addicted, to the internet, and John Hurt for the same reason, or Hurt John, because it's just this endless fountain of misery that he can like, get off on, and he just keeps coming back, and there's something optimistic about the fact that the two of them, after Zeitgeist is removed from the board, they just disappear and they go off together and have a happy ending theoretically.
Yeah. Maybe I have to walk back my comment too that the powers don't really sit together, because maybe the mesmerism is actually just part of his mastery of the current moment in time. And that's a good point. Yeah, why it works on those characters and not others.
Yeah. And yeah, because like when he has that, there's the bomb guy early on, and he talks about like he's basically like an incel guy, or like he just talks about how he was sort of fucking, I don't know if I'm gonna find it, but like morally suspect and lonely, isolated, perfect, something like that.
Yeah. And Uno too, like falls under his spell very hard, but that's the floating eye.
Yeah.
But he just wants to see the world burn.
Oh, and he's teleporting. When they save that guy from death row, that kid, the way he teleports. This is Mike Allred doing so. Like, I would love to see the pencils on this. I just like no words, no nothing. I just want to like his facial expressions are so good. Like everybody's there. Like we've talked about this, James, like at quite a bit, but like the figures in motion are just absolutely absurd, but all the facial expressions are spot on. It's such a weird contrast, and but then he also does like really weird stuff, like everybody's like bodies dissolving into lava lamps, essentially. He's just like such a supreme, like he's such a master of comics art of a very particular, but he just has a very particular style that, but you could imagine someone who draws like this and has zero what they call acting ability. Like he can't make figures. You could imagine an art like this that couldn't make figures perform. He manages to do like Andy Warhol, but with good comics.
Pop art came to mind too. It's really hard to explain. I don't have the language for it, but like
I think his style too. Like there's a gut reaction from not a small amount of people that this is terrible art.
Yeah, that's funny. Like, I've never encountered anyone. I would imagine you're right. I've never encountered anyone who really like said that, but I feel that you're right.
I just recall that from the original X-Force run. People were just like,
"Oh, that's
what
true.
The fuck is this?"
Yeah,
and it's true because it's not dub standard comic book art, but it's perfect sequential art. Like it's there are very few artists that can perform like this and have this consistency and can put out like book after book. Like these are like nice clean trade paperbacks you can get, and the art consistency and story consistency is unlike almost everything in that sort of old school way. And I don't know, that's to me that's like really unique, but yeah, like you say, that I don't know, I think there's just like it's not for the average comic book person's taste sometimes, I think, but
well, definitely not, because it has no interest in taking any of that shit seriously. Like, hey, there's Gambit, like like all of that's a sideshow. Like this is like it's a comedy book, and I think there's always going to be
it got funnier as it went on too.
Yeah. And was even funny now? I mean, like they obviously were laughing. Did their job. Chris, you were going to say something. I don't know if the time has passed though.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was actually.
And you were just talking about how much you wish you saw more Doctor Strange in this book.
Oh yeah, of course.
I understand. Your favorite character. Yeah.
I'm just watching Zeitgeist right now. I can spare you 5 minutes. Jenny, don't just stand there.
You're going to hate yourself after, but that's how you like it. He's such a creep.
Oh, no, that's when he burns up fucking Toodlepip the worst.
I like that they're, for a brief period, like all the women are like they're trying to get one up on him, but like they just can't because he's too fucking gross.
Well, Toodlepip is immune to his charm for sure, and like her presence there, like they kind of like take shots at him, and like she Mirror Girl's a little bit, but as soon it's just the thing is as soon as she's in a room with him, like she's gonna succumb to the charm, and I like how that becomes sort of a plot point where like because Dox gives them the mission to murder Zeitgeist. And so she's Toodlepip's like, yeah, like you have to go in first because he has no respect for you. You got to put him off his guard, then I'll come in and teleport him somewhere.
Yeah,
just pathetic.
But Zeitgeist is like just unrelentingly evil, like on a pretty great level, like actually on a pretty spectacular level, I found.
Yeah, no, he's one of the all-time great villains, I think.
Yeah, well, even like in cunning, like the propaganda war. I think this is early on, but like he makes that film of like the X-Force barging in, and they're like, it is that very right-wing tactic of like just they want your freedom. Yeah, I clipped the future that repressive forces want to steal from you, the free internet. They're scared of your truth. It's my goal to stop this from happening, to keep the world cyber free. And it is that like just that like constant appeal to freedom and like they're coming after you.
Yeah, and that's what makes him Zeitgeist is that like you hear this online all the time. We saw it throughout COVID. Just like, they're gonna, the black helicopters, man, like the government, they're gonna.
It was funny too because it's still funny now to think that like, oh man, Bill Gates is killing you sheep with vaccines, and now it's like many years later, and it's just they were just vaccines.
Yeah,
they were
they
were just vaccines to protect us from a virus, just like the flu shot, and they were very basic, and that was all very transparent. But to this day, there's a subset of people that just won't eat that. Like, I'm not dead. I'm not going to have a heart attack.
And despite the reality of that, like red states have higher death rates than places where vaccines were widely adopted. Like there's no reaching people with the reality of that.
Yeah. So Zeitgeist is that in this book, but not wanting to like address that issue specifically, but to just talk about internet culture and communication and discourse. And he's the villain we deserve. And God bless him. I mean, I guess he's not even dead yet. Like he might come back one day. Zeitgeist will return.
Oh, we can dream.
It's like a Christmas miracle.
Yeah. Did you? I like that Guy Smith got fat too.
Oh yeah.
He looks just like me in that picture. He's just hanging on by a thread in his tights. And I like while Zeitgeist is like having his own sort of like crisis of like his team crisis with the sort of like the positional shifts with the female characters. At the same time, Guy Smith is battling his own demons with being like a racist father figure to the interracial relationship between Edie and Tyke's son. Just stupid. It's just his like Guy Smith was so ineffective in this. I'm not even sure what they were doing with him.
That's a good point. He really
it was just for comedy. Like
yeah. Well, that's it. It's because like they're on their back heel the entire time. Like when Zeitgeist shows up, like I think the idea is that like Ecstatics was satirical for its time, but it's so tame now that it's gonna like it's all of that stuff. Maybe Milligan is saying like all of that stuff that I did before, like it's just gonna celebrity culture in the way that I used to talk is obsolescent. Almost.
It's just like aged and obsolete.
Yeah, and Zeitgeist, the spirit of the times comes around. It's like it's their ultimate enemy and is overcoming them and is about to be ascended to godhood. And then just for fun, he doesn't succeed because of the meanest.
Yeah, it's just and meanwhile, everyone else is like overweight, pretending to be dead, whatever. Ineffective at understanding the current times and relationships, and it's like,
That might be it. That might be part of it. Because I don't think, like I was unfair at the beginning when I said it was like just a nostalgia trip. Like I do believe that Milligan had something to say in this. I think that's clear. But maybe having talked it through with you guys, maybe it's the case that he was saying a little bit more than I was thinking. So, way to go, Milligan.
I did like the new take. I felt like there was a new take on Dead Girl. That she was like a narrator, like she's like I just can't die, so it doesn't matter if I go somewhere or do something or spy on them or whatever.
But even she was somehow like subject to Zeitgeist's hypnotism.
The mesmerize.
Just like, oh no, 2 women have shown up, and it's just like they got to team up on them.
Does he make a comment that always happens to him also?
Yeah, something like
he's
that.
like, why are women always like horrifying me or something like that?
Fucking
Yeah,
ganging
yeah.
up on him.
Yeah,
Oh.
ganging up on him. Yeah.
Poor Zeitgeist. Just,
Another roasted
Yeah.
body here, roasted by acid vomit and thrown off a building.
so many. Oh, is that the that's the scientist?
Yeah.
He's like, you're gonna need me, or like, what are you gonna do about it? And then smash cut to him like screaming, ah, and then his body's thrown out the window. Yeah. So I don't know. I was happy to read it. I'm happy. Obviously, I bought it. It was coming out. I was happy every time I bumped into it. I'll never get rid of it. It's an art object. If they ever produce any more, I'll buy more. Because it's a good show when these guys get together. Like even if it's getting the band back together for a reunion tour, I'm into it.
Now, all we need is a little energon and a lot of luck.